we're going to have our live. We're going to be discussing the most interesting immigration news. We're going to talk about TPS updates, what's happening for nationals of El Salvador, Nicaragua, Nepal, and Honduras, what's important things you need to know about TPS, temporary protected status. I'm going to give you some updates with regard to the border situation, southern border in particular, Florida anti-immigrant laws, and what's happening with that as people are anxiously waiting for those laws to kick in. And I'm going to share with you some good news from my office. So thank you very much for joining. As always, please let me know where you're watching from. Do not forget to like, share this stream so other people will be able to join us as well. Let me know where you're watching from, of course, and please type up your questions. So in the end of the presentation, as always, I will be able to answer some of them and help you out a little bit. Hope you all had a good weekend. For those of you who celebrated Father's Day, I hope you had a good Father's Day, or maybe you just had some time to relax, if at all, even though in my experience, immigrants usually working all the time. And there is no much room for relaxation. You can tell me if your life is different. So let me know. So let's start. Well, first of all, good news is that the United States government administration, this current administration, is taking different approach with regard to TPS for certain countries. You may know that when Trump took over, for whatever reason, he didn't like people from certain countries, called them different names. I'm sure some of you remember that horror. And what was happening is that his administration decided to stop TPS, or temporary protected status, for such countries as El Salvador, Nicaragua, Nepal, and Honduras. And especially El Salvador and Honduras, there were a lot of people here in the United States from those countries. By the time the decision to stop TPS was made, they've resided here for about 20 years. I mean, like, you live in the United States for 20 years, you have family members here, right? And now you were told all of a sudden that, hey, without any good cause, we decided that we're going to be, like, terminating your status, okay? So, of course, good thing happened and the lawsuit followed, which stopped the termination of the status. Well, the way it stopped it, the administration was extending the status in the increments of 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. But it's been a stressful situation for TPS holders because they did not know what's going to happen, right? What's going to come. Are people will be allowed to stay here? Do they need to pack their bags? And so on and so forth. So I think the stressful situation lasted for like almost 5 years, because if I'm not mistaken, those lawsuits and stuff started in 2018. And only now, finally, the Biden administration made the decision to rescind the notice of termination of the TPS status for these countries. And they were set to have extension for their TPS for 18 months. So the sad part about this news is that these countries were not redesignated, unlike some other countries, but at least their TPS status was extended. It means that if you previously had the TPS status from El Salvador, Nicaragua, Nepal, Honduras, you will have to submit for that registration, okay? But only if you previously had. And usually you have to show that you've been residing in the United States, for example, for El Salvador TPS since 2001, Nicaragua 1998, Nepal 2015, Honduras 1999. So it's not for the newcomers, it's for people who have been living here for a long time. Status for these countries is extended TPS until March for El Salvador of 2025, for Nicaragua and Honduras, July 2025, and for Nepal, June 2025. So it's a good amount of time. What are you going to do with this time? Well, you're going to travel. You get TPS nowadays to get advanced parole, get out of the country, come back, and guess what happens? You become in legal status. You get this TPS special admission, and now you can adjust status even based on employment petition. It's very, very important. Not only entry on parole considered to be now paroled, but also the TPS entry after travel abroad is placing you in a legal status, and you can now adjust status based on employment. And guess what else what you can do? You can also file a motion to reopen. Even if you had an old order of removal, now until sometime in 2025, I can be mistaken, I think until March 9th, 2025, I can be mistaken, you can file a special motion to reopen, where it's much easier for you to reopen your previous order of deportation if you can show that you traveled on the TPS advanced parole, and you will be able to fix your status later. So please don't lose this opportunity. You don't want to be that sad person who missed the chance of getting something out of the TPS status. You have to seize this opportunity and get on it. Do not forget to file for re-registration. It's extremely, extremely important. Now let's talk about the border a little bit. Biden administration proudly reports that since they enacted a different policy at the border, they slashed the number of people who can qualify for asylum at the border in two. Like, what's going on? You would say, well, remember that asylum transit travel ban? It's working. Apparently, the daily border crossings reduced from 10,000 to 3,500 per day. I do not know if they count here the CBP One app crossings as well, but it seems to me that, it's almost 3 times less people now coming to the United States opposed to the time when Title 42 was in place. So it is I guess, significant gain for the Biden administration. Advocates do not think so. They sued the Biden administration, saying that this measure, asylum transit ban, is depriving asylum seekers from an opportunity to claim asylum, and there is a lawsuit going on. Not sure where it's going to go, how it's going to be. For some reason, I have a feeling that this time the court is going to side with the Biden administration, allowing them to have this ban, but maybe not. We'll see. It depends on who the judge is going to be and what's going to happen. Well, why is it important if you're already in the United States? Well, it's important because such little changes form the overall policy. If the policy is going to be more restrictive, starting with the border, we can see that it's going to be more restrictive in the United States as well, and sometimes even violating your rights, as you may see it. Maybe you don't receive, but I do, regular updates from ICE, and I see that a lot of people now are being placed on those flights for deportation. So ICE is actively deporting a lot of people, guys. And coupled with the border situation, it seems to me that the Biden administration is trying to be tough on immigrants. Now consider the next level of toughness, the Florida immigration law that is going to kick in. Parts of it are going to kick in starting July 1st. And I do not know if it's actually going to happen, but if it will, it's troubling really for people who are considered to be undocumented, right? Undocumented residents, because it's going to invalidate driver's licenses from all other states unless they are Real ID compliant. You will not be able to find a job because employers are going to, most of them at least from what it seems, are going to be scared to hire undocumented workers, because Florida immigration law now says that starting July 1st, that you cannot hire undocumented people. And if you do, they're going to take your business license away. This is something new. This is different from what we have and what we've had before. Under federal law, people not supposed to be, employers not supposed to be hiring workers without documents, but your license usually wouldn't be at stake, all right? The heavy penalties usually are not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you, I don't really know how Florida, which I think involved in agricultural production heavily, is going to cope with the consequences of this law, because a lot of agricultural workers, guess what? They're undocumented. So the employers will be scared. They will probably have to shut down the businesses, right? Because how else are you going to be able to observe the law and keep your business if all your workers are going to be, leaving the state? Because what's going to happen now is that many people in Florida are actually leaving the state. And if you know of somebody who is making this decision, let me know. You don't have to use your real name online, but let me know what you think about this, Florida situation. I know that people were telling me online that in Texas, similar laws are already in place. I wasn't aware of that, for example, but I feel that Florida made a wrong turn here. I don't really think that most population of Florida is going to benefit from this. It just creates unnecessary stress. And this is where federal government should step in really and correct the situation by passing the reform, especially for farm workers, first responders, TPS holders, DACA holders, rather than putting people in this terrible situation. And of course, I think federal government, unfortunately, not going to step in because they would like to demonstrate, to show the world how terrible Florida governor is at the expense of the immigrants. So it's a political drama, in my view, to some extent. But let me know what you think. Let me know how you view it. I know that a lot of commenters online say that's great. Florida is on the right path, and that's how it's supposed to be. Those people are law violators. Let me know your view about this. I think personally, Florida is not doing the right thing. And rather than trying to really oppress the working families, even if they are undocumented, they should have come up with a solution that would make their life easier, where everybody, employers and Florida, can benefit, and perhaps lobby on the federal level for their documents rather than trying to make a criminal out of somebody who was brought here as a baby. But again, do not know. Maybe some people see it differently. Finally, I would like to share good news from my office. Today, I received excellent news, actually. Shall I say unexpected? Well, it was sort of unexpected. I mean, I should say that, my client hoped it would be expected. After all, they hired me to get this result. We got an approval for a very long pending VAWA case. The priority date for this VAWA case is 2015. And the client came to me first to see what's going on with her case. We did in fall of 2022 followed up with the Vermont Service Center, asking them for updates and updating client case with more evidence. And then we received a notice of intent to deny, which was heartbreaking. The problem was that I wasn't the person who started the case. A lot of things were done incorrectly because the client unfortunately used one of those people who calls themselves paralegal, notarios, whatever. They do not know most of the time what they're doing. They shouldn't be touching anybody's life. They shouldn't be touching immigration cases. Of course, they think they know because they observed somebody, or maybe they had one successful case that was their own case because a lawyer was handling their case. And then they grab your money and they say that everything will be fine. Everything is not going to be fine if you do not know what you're doing. So we worked really hard and really hoped for the best. And it seems that it paid off, at least in this person's case, which I'm very happy for the person. I'm very grateful to USCIS that they did see the case the way I saw it. And that was a great news. So after 8 years of waiting, my client finally is going to get the papers, which is amazing, actually. And now, guys, I'll be happy to help you out and see what questions you have. Hi, Imanis. Thank you very much for joining. Hi, Chedi. Greetings. Don't forget to let me know where you're watching from. How Mary from Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah. Let me know what the feelings are about the new law you guys have in Florida. Hi, the Duke. Good afternoon. Watching from Seattle, Washington. Yay. New York. Hermal. Bahart. Hey. Thank you, guys. Hi, Pella. Good afternoon. Please, what is the current processing time for I-730? I-730 is the form that you would submit when you won your asylum case and you would like to invite your family members to join you, following to join. Usually it should take less than a year. Currently, it takes about 2 years, I would say. But again, it may change. It may change. It depends on the situation. Remember, we're still recovering from COVID times, so hopefully it's going to be faster. Hi, DT Peak. Can pending asylum person with work permit go to Florida for a few months? Yeah, you can. With a work permit is your legal identification. You should be able to get that compliant real ID, driver's license. You should be all right, okay? So you should be okay. I believe that when you have a pending work permit, pending asylum, you should be okay. Now, I do know of one case where a person in a similar situation with the work permit, affirmative asylum pending, went to Arizona and got arrested there. Despite the fact, arrested by immigration authorities, despite the fact that the person had pending asylum, placed in removal proceedings, was in detention for a little bit, got released, of course. So can it happen that you may be detained? Yes. Will it happen? I'd say unlikely. I do not know what's going to happen in Florida. Are they going to unleash on immigrants after July 1st? Or they will just take it easy? I do not know. But can it happen? Yes, it can. Even if you have affirmative asylum pending. If you have a defensive asylum pending, what is there you have to lose? You are already in immigration court proceedings. So what they're going to do? Place you in immigration proceedings twice? Hi, Shabir. I have asylum pending, can apply for a U visa. A person can apply for a U visa if they are victim of a crime that happened in the United States or United States had jurisdiction over that crime. Can they? Yes, they can, if they obtain a U visa certification from the qualified law enforcement. It can be a police officer, usually a prosecutor or a judge. Typically, a U visa certification is going to be signed by the police, sometimes by the prosecutor's office. Hi, free day. Question from Alabama. My brother applied for me I-1 32 years ago. This year did DNA test. Can he apply to expedite for me or other option? My master immigration court in October, asylum case. The problem with this for siblings cases, guys, it takes 10 years before the priority date becomes current. And you cannot really expedite that. You can't skip the line. So unfortunately, I don't think that judging by the information you provided, your priority date will become current by the time of your court, all right? Even if you have just a master hearing in October, I don't think that the court is going to take 8 years to give you an individual hearing. But then there is another problem with sibling cases. Most of the times, you will not be able to get a green card based on siblings petition in the United States, because in a qualified family-based category, such as you are, when a sibling is sponsoring a sibling, non-citizen has to show that they've been maintaining lawful non-immigrant status from the time they entered the United States until the time they can file for adjustment of status, or they qualify for 245I exception. Most people cannot do that. Then you have a waiver option, but for the waiver, I-601A waiver, you have to show that you're not inadmissible for any other reason apart from unlawful presence, and you have a qualifying relative who is your spouse or a parent, green card holder or US citizen. Just doesn't sound to me that this is going to be your situation, okay? So I think you probably, and I'm guessing here, totally guessing, I'm guessing that your best bet still will be asylum in court. Hi, David. Is it awesome and great news that most of the things more or less are clear about TPSs? But for us who are waiting for asylum interviews for the last 7-8 years, unfortunately, it is not clear when to expect to be called for one. I know, David. It's very, very frustrating. It's really, I would say that if you've been waiting for 7 to 8 years, your time is going to be about now, this year, maybe the next year. That's usual timeline, but who knows what's going to happen. If more and more people are added to the front of the line, then you're going to logically go to the back of the line if they're still going to use the same rule, even though they do say that about 30% of cases that were filed before the change of the rules, how they were calling cases for asylum interview, took effect. So you may be in that 30% pool of old cases that will be called now. But what if you are not lucky and you're going to be always in the back of the line? I mean, can it happen? It can happen. One thing you need to remember is this. Consider this time your opportunity to strengthen your asylum case rather than focusing on the negative part of forever waiting for your interview. Look at your case. See what else you can include. Change country conditions, an expert report, witnesses. Think, okay? This is how you should think about your case, because at some point you will be called. Hi, Denver. Thank you very much. Nice hearing from you. Hi, Sense. When will the Dignity Act be voted on? I do not know. I don't know if it will be voted on at all. They have to first push it through all these committees and the market, what's called. And I really do not know, unfortunately. I wish I had better updates. I am preparing a blog to talk about a little bit immigration reform and how we are frustrated about that. And also to compare the two proposals, Dignity Act and Citizenship Act of 2023. But when they will be actually voting, guys, I really do not know. If I had to make any predictions, I think that closer to the election time, this is when something is going to start happening. Hi, IK. My court case was terminated without prejudice. What can I do? Well, you should be celebrating. If your court case was terminated, it means you are no longer in removal proceedings, unless for some reason you want to be in the removal proceedings. So the only downside to the termination that possibly can be is if you're losing your employment authorization. But on the other hand, you're gaining certainty that you're not going to be deported. It's also very important, right? So I'm not sure if you do need to do anything about it. If you have any other ways apart from the ways that led you to the court proceedings to seek some status, perhaps maybe talk to an attorney and see what can be done. But I think it's a good thing, no? Hi, True Wisdom. Portal USS says 1 week. Does this mean anything? Let's hope that it does, that in 1 week you're going to receive your decision, but next week Please connect and let me know if you're actually going to get any decision. I cannot tell you how accurate those predictions are, I'll be honest, because what will they mean in any case? Maybe in 90% of cases, they will be accurate. But what in your particular case? This 1 week, unfortunately, next week is going to change to 1 or 6 months, right? I know what you're referring to. You're referring to the processing times that you see online, those updates that tell you approximately when your case will be resolved. So can it be that it will be timely? Yes, it can be. Let's hope for that. Hi, Roman. What is the chances of a Dignity Act to go through Congress, or is it just politics? It's definitely a lot of politics involved in that. If you look at the proposal, you'll see that it's extremely restrictive. It really punishes those who dare to stay in the United States, well, pay taxes too, develop the economy, saved people during the pandemic, but it gives you an extremely long pathway to citizenship. 5 years, 7 years, right? And God knows how many years. So it's bad enough to pass, if you ask me, right? Because they do not want to gift you anything. They say you cannot go at the beginning of the line, say people who are waiting for their green cards for 10 years. So Dignity Act is bad enough to pass. It gives you a chance, but with a chance, you're not cutting anybody's lines, and you have to suffer long enough for those people who do not like undocumented people to say that, all right, maybe they can have that opposed to nothing. So we'll see. I think it can. I think it does have a chance. Hi, Ali. Ali always connects. Thank you, Ali. Any update about Citizenship Act 2023? Not yet. I know it's not a bad proposal, actually, but not any specific updates. Hi, Jamshed. Does pending adjustment of status applicant need to apply for reapply? Not sure what you mean by that. Let me know on what you're referring, so maybe I can answer your question better. Hi, Van. Hi, Alena. What if you filed an interview and no progress has been made? Lawyer hasn't. What if you filed and interviewed and no progress has been made? So are you saying that you've been interviewed and you have not received your decision on your asylum interview? Well, usually you would just need to wait. I know we do not like waiting, but usually that would be the best course of events. Sometimes you can file a lawsuit against USCIS, forcing them to make the decision. Do you want to do that? I don't know. You tell me. The court cannot force USCIS to grant your case, but they can force them to make the decision. What if it's a denial? Are you prepared for that? Oh, how many days to get decision if you sue USCIS? You may also wait for months and months and spend money on lawyers. And what if USCIS fights back and files a motion against you to dismiss your lawsuit, to transfer it to another jurisdiction? There is no guarantee that you're going to get your decision in days, guys. It's just not the case. Sometimes what happens is that lawyer is trying to negotiate with government attorneys, sends them a notice of the lawsuit in advance, and then yes, you may receive your resolution within 45 days, but it's not always, and you can get stuck now in the federal court for months and months. All right, and let me take a couple more questions. Hi, Makan, can I file prosecutorial discretion when motion to reopen pending with the BIA? Not sure. What would you be asking for? What the motion was based on? I think you should discuss it with your attorney. If already there is something pending with BIA, you may be wasting then your time and money that you spend on BIA motion. Hi, Duke. Can asylum pending interview qualify for EB category or H-1B, hence transition for green card to asylum asylum through adjustment of status? I don't think so, guys. But I keep repeating in every video, there are 2 unpublished cases from Board of Immigration Appeals. I know one lawyer online who says that it worked for them. I know another lawyer who said it didn't work for them in New York. So maybe if you are from Chicago or California, it may work for you. If it does, let me know. So far in New York, I didn't find any volunteers who want to pay a lawyer a lot of money to go through the process to see if it's going to work, especially knowing that there is an attorney from New York who stated that USCIS did not approve the green card for the pending asylum case, which was filed before the expiration of the legal status, using that theory that it was USCIS' fault that the asylum was pending for too long and the person fell out of status. Again, that's information I have, no personal experience. 2 unpublished cases, matter of Orban and matter of LK. So maybe, okay? Do you want to try? You let me know if you want to try. After full disclosure, it doesn't hurt to try. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you find this video and updates helpful. If so, like and share them. Do not forget to join my YouTube channel and my Facebook. And I hope to see you soon.